Hey yo, what's good? What's Gucci? It's your boy Philly Dub back at it again with another reaction video. It's Mr. I can't do it on my own, Mr. God put me on. I was made on purpose for a purpose, and guess what? So are you. Yo, so check this out, bro. Like, there's mad crazy stuff going on in the league today. I mean, we got Myles Garrett being traded. I know the homie OBJ's back with the Giants, yo. I feel like I'm a kid again type beat. You know what I mean? And then it's just like, there was something else that, oh yeah, AJ Brown going to the Patriots. Like, what's going on, bro? Like, why today, dog? Why June 1st? 6'1"? Like, what are we talking about, bro? Like, I'm 6 foot, you feel me? But let's go ahead and check in on this stuff. I mean, if you made it this far, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, subscribe, like, hit the like, what is wrong with you? Anyways, yeah, let's run this mug up. Let's run. I know I'm a little late, but let's run it up.
NFL Live with major breaking news. Adam Schefter, fill us in.
All right, Laura, we have the biggest trade of the NFL offseason, arguably the biggest defensive trade in NFL
100%.
history. The Cleveland Browns are sending
History, bro. Did he say history? I agree with that.
defending Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett. NFL offseason, arguably the biggest defensive trade in NFL history. The
100%. I know Joe Burrow he's loving it.
Cleveland Browns are sending defending Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams in return for two-time Pro Bowl edge Jared Verse.
Hey, don't get it twisted. Jared Verse is a dog, bro. Absolute dog.
First-round pick in 27, a second-round pick in 28, a third-round pick in 29. A 1, 2, 3, and Jared Verse. Myles Garrett gets a new home, and just like the Rams made a big, bold move in 2021 when Los Angeles was hosting the Super Bowl, and the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford. The Rams have done it again with Los Angeles getting ready to host another Super Bowl this upcoming season, trading for Myles Garrett, who they've been trying now to get for weeks and finally able to get the deal done today.
All right, Adam Schefter with us for the hour, and we are going to spend a lot of time on this, right? Adam, there's lots of different sides of this to unpack, and again, we'll do that. So there's a long list of
Look, man, all I'm saying is I know somewhere the boy Aaron Rodgers, he's loving it. Lamar Jackson, he's loving it. Joe Burr, loving it. Shedeur Sanders ain't loving it, though.
Accomplishments for Garrett since getting drafted first overall in 2017. And only Reggie White had more sacks through 9 career seasons. Garrett's 23 sacks in 2025 were the most in any season in NFL history. And he's been named the Defensive Player of the Year in 2 of the last 3 years. To help us unpack all of this, we have Mina Kimes, we have Marcus Spears, we have Peter Schrager. There's my camera. Okay, so you guys, yeah, Swag, you got the fists up, you're ready to go. We're going to talk a lot about the defensive side of this for the Rams, also what it means for the Browns. That's coming later on in the show. But first, I'll start with Mina. Just what does this mean, Mina, for this Rams D-line now?
What a nightmare for opposing off. Already one of the better pass rushes in football, and obviously you lose Verse, who's an ascendant young player. I'm excited to talk about what that means for Cleveland. But Myles Garrett joins a defensive line that is extremely strong on the interior. Kobe Turner, I feel like, is one of the best defensive tackles in football. People don't talk about. Fifth, by the way, in pass rush win. Braden Fisk, Byron Young opposite him. This is a team that does not blitz very much, and with Myles Garrett, they can continue that. They do not have to. This is already one of, if not the best rosters in the entire NFL. And now with this trade, as well as the additions they made in the secondary, which was arguably the one weakness of the team last year, trading for Trent McDuffie and adding Jalen Watson, this is the best team in the NFL. I don't think that should be controversial at all. They are the prohibitive Super Bowl favorites, and they had a player in Myles Garrett who is not just the best defensive player in the league, might be the best player in the entire league.
Yeah, and Mina's right. This is a move that the Rams are putting their flag in the ground and saying, we are that team. And we know we were this close last year, and we got to that NFC Championship game, and we couldn't stop anyone. And this is what it's going to take. Now, if we unpack this goes all the way back to the Ty Simpson trade. And I've done, obviously, quite a bit of conversations with both sides here. At no point has Todd Monken or Mike Rutenberg or Andrew Berry made it clear this offseason that Myles Garrett was walking through that door. The breadcrumbs were there on that. You go to the Rams side of it, I can assure you, when the selection of Ty Simpson was made, there was a conversation with Matthew Stafford saying, don't worry, there is more to come. And whether that meant a huge offensive splash or the best defensive player in football, this was a deal with Stafford that you're going to get paid, you're going to get restructured, you're going to make sure you're going to make more money. But we're not leaving you out to dry here. We're not taking a rookie quarterback who is not going to play at all with nothing else. If you know Snead, if you know McVay, if you know Demoff, the way that organization works, they never sleep until they are at the point where they feel like they've done everything they possibly can to get their team over the hump. This trade has been in the works for weeks, and the Jared Verse part was the last little wrinkle. That's what they had to give up to make sure they could actually get Myles Garrett. But if you're the Rams, yeah, this is our message to the world. We're going for it with another home Super Bowl in our backyard.
I mean, both amazing points, and both of you brought it up about the Rams. This is peak Rams. It's not something we haven't seen before from the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, if you remember back in 2020, they had Matthew, they had Jalen Ramsey, which they got from Jacksonville like a year prior or something like that. Matthew, him, who else? They had somebody else on there. Oh, Von Miller. They did that Von Miller trade. Like, come on, bro. OBJ. They had OBJ too. Like,
Rams though.
It's
But I'm
crazy,
gonna focus on Myles Garrett. Thank God we about to see this dude in prime time a lot. I said this last year during the season. He would be in that conversation for the best defensive player ever if he played for a contender. People have no idea. People have no idea how good he is at football. They know the stats and they know he went for the record and all of that. But now he's on a team where you're going to watch Myles Garrett like we do on this show, down in and down out. And you're going to realize beyond the sacks and the big plays, how much he impacts a football game without making the play. That's what got me so excited about this trade. I said it last year. He's just been kind of withering away. 9 years in the NFL, and not one time have we ever thought Myles Garrett had an opportunity to go into the postseason with a chance to win a Super Bowl. Football fans, everybody that loves the National Football League, and that's a lot of people around the world, you are about to witness the Myles Garrett experience week in and week out, and it's going to be one of the best things that you've seen in this league for a long time. I'm so happy for him. Obviously, I'm happy for the Rams, and the Browns got their trades, and they got their picks, and they got a really good player in Jared Verse as well. But the fact that we are going to see Myles Garrett in the playoffs, and y'all know on this show how much we love football and how excited we get about the playoffs. Myles Garrett in the playoffs with the Los Angeles Rams with an offense that has a chance to score 40 every time they're out, and he's...
Bro, what is going on, bro? What are we talking about right now? Not even that. I'm just saying what? My sound, bro?
Gonna be able to pass rush for a majority of the game. That's what everybody should be excited about. Congrats, Myles. You are about to introduce yourself to a whole segment of people that might not even be football fans that are going to marvel at what this dude does on the football field.
Hey.
Bro, I'm okay, kind of annoyed. I'm not even gonna hold you for real. Like, the sound is just crazy work, dog.
Adam,
I'm super excited for him.
I know you're jumping in, Shefty, but Swagoo's mic is not used to Swagoo's excitement right now. His mic can't even handle how happy he is for Myles Garrett. Go ahead, Adam. Everybody tap on that thing.
I was going to say, Myles Garrett already is so happy that he's agreed to waive his no-trade clause, which he's the rare player to have a no-trade clause. It goes with him to Los Angeles and stays in his Rams contract. And you hear Big Swagoo talk about his excitement for Myles Garrett in LA. Let me tell you about the Rams' excitement, okay? They went back and looked at all the plays of his from last season, and he actually was better than they thought he was, if such a thing is even possible.
That's
20
crazy.
of his 23 sacks came from a four-man rush. They could not believe the pressure he was able to generate. He did it in a team where they weren't winning, where essentially the Browns rarely were playing with a lead. They think that they have the successor to Aaron Donald right now, that level of player. And it works out very well for Myles Garrett. Let's not forget, a year ago, he asked to be traded. Everybody thought he would be traded potentially. The Browns never wavered. They gave him a 4-year, $160 million contract extension instead. But those feelings never really went away. Myles Garrett didn't show up during the offseason. He never said hello face-to-face with the new Browns head coach, Todd Monken. Something was askew, and the Rams capitalized on that. And the Browns did too, because they weren't going to make a trade unless Jared Verse was included in the deal. And when the Rams agreed ultimately to include a player that they didn't want to part ways with, that's when the trade heated up. And now Myles Garrett gets to go to a situation the likes of which he's never been in before. They couldn't be more excited to have him.
Yeah, Mina mentioned earlier that Myles Garrett may not only just be the best defensive player in the league, he might be the best player in the NFL. I want to point this out because I think Super Bowl odds say it all. We already knew that the Rams were the Super Bowl favorites. They were hovering around plus 800 to plus 850. After this trade, DraftKings now adjusted the Rams odds to plus 600, 200-point swing. It's almost unheard of. Doesn't happen very often. Mina, when you think about the impact of what Myles Garrett brings to the table, the collective group on this Rams defense, plus the offense and the way it can complement what they'll do, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it needs to be emphasized. This was already a good pass rush, and obviously Jared Verse.
Bro, like, if you think about it, their defensive line was nuts last year, right? And one thing that I think that Seahawks did is they exposed, like, because obviously within the last, like, I would say 10 years, offense, everything was extremely offensive-minded. But, you know, obviously with the Seahawks having the defense that they had last year, which was crazy work, right? They exposed, like, yo, you could have, like, not saying that their offense wasn't explosive, but, you know, maybe the time of the D-line is coming for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be this D-line is going to be nasty, bro. And arguably probably one of the best D-lines for years to come. Like, it's crazy. Like, the Rams be doing that, though.
Was a big part
It's
of
low-key
that.
annoying.
But Garrett
I'm not
adds
even
something
gonna hold
different.
you
I know
for
I'm
it.
saying
It's
something
low-key
obvious, and I don't even have to give you stats to illustrate how good Myles Garrett is at getting after the quarterback. He's first in, like, everything over the last few years. That's why he always is, you know, he's a defensive player of the year last year. It was a no-brainer, not just the sacks, pressure rate, pass rush win, etc. But there is one thing I do want to mention in terms of him adding a different element to this Rams pass rush. Last year, Myles Garrett had the fastest get-off, meaning his speed off the ball, of any pass rusher in football, 0.7 seconds, which is insane, by the way, at his size. None of the Rams players ranked inside the top 70 in that metric. Jared Verse was just outside of it. So he's a good pass rusher, but in terms of blowing up plays before the quarterback has time to do literally anything, Myles Garrett is in a league of his own. And also, it is something that, as good as the Rams pass rush has been, it's been a missing component, Laura, that speed element that he brings to the defensive line.
Yeah, it's a great point. Peter, when you think about the overall price tag, somebody's honking their horn. They said, honk if the Rams got Myles Garrett. Peter, the overall price tag, it's Jared Verse plus the 2027 first rounder. What's your assessment of that?
Yeah, and it's 2 more picks. So
Right.
3 different draft picks and Jared Verse, who, by the way, was their best pass rusher the last several seasons. It's interesting. Talking to Sean, he's learned a lot from the Jared Goff trade, and he doesn't love the fact the way he handled that Goff found out about that trade via social media and was almost like the last one to know and had to then deal with that and go through all of that.
Still disrespectful.
The Rams weren't going to let this thing happen until they spoke to Jared Verse, and they did so today. And they did so at about, an hour before the trade went down. But they didn't want to trade Jared Verse. They actually did get in touch with Verse. They got him there. And then it was like, okay, let the floodgates out. We're making this trade. It's okay. But this has been in the works. And at no point was Jared Verse tossed out as a piece of this. It was always going to be picks. But the Browns weren't going to do it without getting Verse to be a part of it. They eventually had to part with one of their favorite guys on the roster and a team leader in a lot of ways, even though as young as he is on that defense. If you remember Jared Verse going around Philly at Lincoln Financial, pumping his chest and talking smack before that playoff game, he's the emotional leader of that defense. But they did get in touch with Verse. They did speak with Verse. And Adam, as you can add color on this, like, this is a trade that's been in the works, but it really wasn't going to happen until they had to part with one of their favorite players on the roster.
You're right, Peter. They wanted to make sure they told Jared Verse, who was born in Dayton, Ohio, but had no idea today that that trade would be coming and that he would be sent back to the place in which he was born. But ultimately, that's what happened. I think we look at the picks that the Browns are getting back. There are now 2 teams in the highly anticipated 2027 NFL draft that have multiple first-round draft picks. The New York Jets have 3 first-round picks next year. The Cleveland Browns have 2. And the Cleveland Browns have given themselves some added ammunition and flexibility to go out to get a quarterback if that's what they want to do in the 2027 draft. By virtue of this trade right here, the Browns now have the ammunition that they need to be able to maneuver around the draft board, not to mention the added draft capital in 28 and 29 that they've accumulated here. And they have spent the last couple of years stockpiling draft picks. They had extra picks courtesy of moving back from 2 to 5 from the Jacksonville trade. They have extra picks here courtesy of the trade for Myles Garrett. And at some point in time, there's going to be a huge influx of talent to Cleveland, and there's going to be an opportunity for this franchise to come away with the player it wants.
Shefty, I love that you brought that point up because sometimes you have to rip the Band-Aid off. You have to identify where you are, understand that with all of the excitement with Myles Garrett, that the Cleveland Browns' most important move is getting the quarterback position right, whether that's somebody there that plays themselves into that or whether that's a draft pick that they need to use. And also, people need to realize as well is that these draft picks at times turn into veterans like a Myles Garrett if you get down the road and realize you 1 or 2 players away after some rookies or some free agents show up for you well during the season. So I like what the Browns did here. Now they have to manage it the right way. We came out of the draft saying the Jets did a phenomenal job. The Jets went through this change. You have to rip the Band-Aid off. The worst place you can be as a football team is in the gray, just waffling. So this is a move for the Browns. Now they have the capital and the opportunity to change the face of their team potentially. I just hope they use it the right way.
Again, we'll dive into more on the Browns side of things later on in the show. Those quarterbacks in that 2027 class, Arch Manning, there's a few other big names. We'll talk about what that could look like. And we're so glad you're with us today. Lots of news flying around. There could be more, okay? When we come back, what breaking news from...
All right, bro. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing, bro. One thing with the Rams that I've noticed that I've appreciated is that they do have a win-now mentality, but they're also very smart, right? They had a win-now mentality with back in 2020 when they traded Matthew Stafford for Matthew Stafford. People were like, "Oh, they're gonna be cool for only like 3-4 years or whatever." Well, here we are 6 years later, 7 years later. You know what I mean? So it's just like I feel it, but at the same time, you gotta draft smart. They drafted very smart. You know what I mean? So. With the picks that they did have, and they were able to make moves, but then they were able to, bam, go in and get some more. Now, have they been able to reach the big game multiple times? No. But, I mean, you know, they're knocking on the door, right? And if this kid Ty Simpson is something, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see another Matthew Stafford for real. But, dude, Rams are most definitely the best team in the league. Talent-wise, 100%. Because this is where they were 6-7 years ago when they had all those players, bro. The Rams were the best team on paper. They had like three Hall of Famers, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and then now Matthew Stafford. There was 4 Hall of Famers on that team. So, like, what are we talking about? So yeah. But anyways... if y'all made it this far, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? Like, seriously. Like, subscribe, do your thing.